You've seen all of the Trey Murphy videos. You've seen the talk. You've seen the stats. But what happens if he actually takes an additional leap in year 3? We the people that's going to tell you about it. Let's start the show.
When I start making love, I don't just make love, I be stroking. That's what I be doing. I be stroking. I stroke it to the east, and I stroke it to the west, and I stroke it to the woman that I love the best. I be stroking.
Welcome to another episode of It's Space with Chris Connor. I am your grateful and humble host. Shout out to Jägermeister. Shout out to the good people at your DraftKings Sportsbook. Shout out to the code BOOT. If you ain't signed up already, ready to win some money, lose some money, do it responsibly. Type in BOOT, B-O-O-T for my audio listeners. Birdsall Law Firm. Got my dog Lito here. He got a perplexed look on his face. What's that?
I don't know if I signed up for this one. I don't know. I feel like I was lied to. I feel like I was lied to.
Yo, shout out to Retro Pels for putting together that video, man. Who that is? Clarence Carter. I didn't think in all my years that I was gonna see something like that. But I watched that video at least, I don't know, every other week now at this point, and it's funny every time I see it. It was placed terribly on the screen, so y'all really. So, but it was perfect to where y'all couldn't see our faces until until the show actually started. We gonna get into it. So, yo, man, after the Retro Pels video, shout out to him for letting me use that, John. It's time to talk Trey Murphy III, man. Yo, man, for a lot of reasons, from his family to personality he's shown, to his ultimate, to his game, and to the potential that a lot of us saw day one, the minute he was drafted, the thoughts of what he could be. He's been one of the more exciting rookies to watch develop for the Pelicans. We're talking non-star. I would say he's up there with almost anybody, man, outside of maybe like a David West. You know, I mean, he has some time, to kind of grow there. But if we're talking non-star, and it might be unfair to say David West was an all-star, so that wasn't fair. That's not fair. But if we're gonna talk,
yeah, but he wasn't a star.
Okay, yeah, all right. So yeah, I ain't just want to be disrespectful, right? Yeah. But we talking, let's say even high-level role players, however you look at David West. We're talking about dudes that were drafted in New Orleans. There's just not many people that have stuck around long enough for us to really compare it to, but there's been a lot of excitement about Trey's development, and we're gonna talk about what happens if he takes an additional leap here in year 3. He had an exciting March that we're gonna get into. I put together a video during that run about some of the things that he was doing. I'm gonna re-rock some of them videos so y'all can, go ahead and see what he was doing last season. We got some videos of what he's been doing over the summer, and we're gonna talk about what it all looks like. It's been, I know Chaz dropped the video a couple weeks ago. We did a Spaces where we talked about some of the things that he's improved on. Shout out to him. And I've had the luxury of talking to his family, talking to his dad, and Trey been on the run, man. I mean, he's been on planes, hooping everywhere, all over the globe. Now we talk about in the select team. There's a lot going on about whether or not he should start. It's my opinion that he should, but even if he doesn't, he can still take an additional leap. And I want to know what that means for him going into year 3. Lito, what up, dog?
Man, it's all good, man. Just out here, just trying to avoid calling Trey the nickname that song played with. I fully believe that he should. I do believe he should start. And I do believe that he is I said this on a podcast. It might not necessarily be this season, but as far as like when you talk about the big 3, I think going forward, like if this team is to reach where it's gonna, if it wants to reach the heights that it has in mind, he got to be a member of that big three. He got to take that leap. So this is a perfect show for that.
So let's talk about what that means for him to take that step. I'm gonna show you something here. This was a tweet earlier from HP Basketball. Matt Moore, who does a lot of basketball work, articles, podcast work, so on and so forth. And this is what he put together earlier. He tweeted, this is with at least 14 points on less than 17% usage with a VORP over 2. VORP is value over replacement player. Is that right, Lito?
Yeah.
That sounds overly complicated, but I wanted to look at the low usage players that scored efficiently and were a positive impact. These were all really good NBA players. Trey Murphy is in his 3rd season. Look at this list, Lito. Now, some of these dudes your age and some of them a lot older than you. But we talking about some really good players here, man.
Yeah.
And it's and some of these dudes ain't played basketball since the iPhone was created.
Man, I'm looking at Anthony Mason. I'm looking at Wesley Person. Like,
we talking about head coaches, assistant coaches. We got Bobby Jones. Looks Cedric Maxwell. Shout out to former Finals MVP Mo Cheeks. Crazy name.
Crazy.
But we got Marc Gasol, and then we got Rudy Gobert, who's actually done it twice, which adds to the real interesting career that he's had and kind of the.
Is he good, Chris? Is he good? Is Rudy Gobert good?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Could he be a lot better? Do you want more from him? Yeah. Does he cause issues for his team in the playoffs because of how teams hunt him and his lack of offensive growth? Yeah.
You think he could be better?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
There's no reason he should not have at least one post. All right, we going to talk. Regardless, this is showing just really good players that kind of made the most of their opportunities. Right? But I want to show what he did when those opportunities kind of raised. Because if we're talking an additional leap, I know a lot of people are going to ask what that means and whether he starts or not. Well, I think it's going to mean, and this is my opinion, somewhere close to the marks that he had. Maybe it's not to that level. Maybe the shot attempts aren't like that, but somewhere around there. And me and Lito was talking about it before. Like, just going back to the numbers, I looked at them heavily when I did my show about Trey during the season. But looking at it again now, a few months apart, it's crazy. Like, we're gonna look at some of the averages and some of the totals, and like the differences that you get to see from how he just doubles production is crazy, but becomes even more efficient in some ways. Like,
dude, not real. Like, it don't make sense.
Like, no, he didn't shoot over 100. March was the first month of his career where he shot, I believe, over 100 threes. He shot 133 and gave you 45%. That's
not
crazy.
normal.
No, it's not. He did all this 50%. You get the 50, 40, 90. He played over 500 minutes. He shot 188 attempts. January, he played 16 games. He played one less game, started 2 less games, and shot 50 more. I'm sorry, over 30 more attempts. Like,
look what confidence make a player do.
Yeah, or just inclusion. Just, we just talked about this in the Jonas episode. Just being a focal part of the offense. And it seemed like in March, the coaching staff decided, this is what we have right now. Zion isn't on the court. Brandon needs help. Our team needs help. CJ's hurt. We got to get this dude the ball and give him the opportunity to make plays. And more than just finding him as a shooter, actually running things up for him, giving him an opportunity to do things. And here's some of the averages, though. Like look at this. The usage wasn't even crazy, Lito. All them totals that I talked about, the usage wasn't even crazy for a dude that played 35 minutes. But the point, 18. You got 18 a game there. You got and we'll talk about the rebound. But
the most important.
Huh?
I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the most important. Just visually, just say this is my first time looking at this chart, which it isn't. But let's say it was. The most important part to me is the win-loss, and you see the difference from getting him involved and what it does for the team success versus the latter, and you don't get the full spectrum of him helping spread the allocation of the offense.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I mean, you see the points per game at 17 per in wins, right? You see the usage. That's a big part here. You're looking at from 15 in losses, 18 in wins. That means you get him the ball, everything's better. Everything's better. And sure, some of this is right. I'm sure that there were losses where he just had an off night shooting. I'm not saying that every night he's gotten involved has been a win. But you did see it. It's completely different. When Trey Murphy has a good game here, you see like plus or minus at 12.6. Good things tend to happen. The minutes are a little bit higher. But with that comes room or places in which he has to improve, Lito.
Yes, sir.
Which are?
He's got to become a better rebounder, like immediately. And can you put it back? Can you put the stats back up real quick?
Which ones?
The chart we just saw. Like okay. So I wanted to. So if you're looking at this chart right in October, he started it off perfectly. I don't care about the points. I don't because that's gonna come. I don't care about the shooting because I feel the same way. Make or miss, whatever he shoot is a good shot. I'm going straight to total rebounding. In October, he had 6. And it literally went downhill basically after that. Like that was it. We just did a show about Jonas Valanciunas, and we said that CJ cannot be the third highest rebounder on the team. Your 6'3" guard, 6'3", 6'4" guard cannot be the third highest rebounder on the team. You know, Dyson, as much as I bullshit, I say he probably gonna be the third best rebounder on the team this year. Like, I want Trey to be that. I want Trey to be like, I don't want Trey to just be one side, play one side of the floor. I want him to expend his energy on the defensive end, offensive rebounder and defensive rebounder. But I want him to become a better rebounder, a more consistent rebounder, and a better defender.
And here's where the confusion kind of walks in at. He showed flashes in year 1.
Yep.
For those that believe in per 36 in the limited, I guess, large, because he didn't, we're talking about what, maybe a month or some change in which we saw him for consistent minutes or, high level bench role minutes.
Yeah.
But per 36 last season, or the season before last in his rookie year, he was at about 6, that October you talked about 6 rebounds, per 36. Last season, per 36, he was at 4. So, you mentioned offensive rebounds. In his rookie year, per 36, he averaged 2 offensive rebounds. Like, there's no reason, all the love that we've seen from him getting putbacks. But that activity on the glass, man, there's no reason that CJ McCollum should be third. He should be third. If hell, second. I mean, the way it should go on this team. I want your order, but here's how I think it should go.
Mm-hmm.
I think it should go Jonas, Zion, Brandon, then Trey. And if you want to switch Trey and Brandon, fine. If you think Zion should average more rebounds than Jonas, fine. Well, however you want. But those 4, I think, should be there. CJ should be nowhere close.
I'm gonna go with JV, Zion, Trey. I'm saying Trey because more than likely Brandon is gonna have the ball in his hands more than Trey would, so it's a higher opportunity for Trey to go and crash the glass, especially offensively, if he's not involved in taking a shot or getting the you know what I'm saying? Like if he's not involved in the actual scheme. I'm gonna say Trey, Brandon, Larry, then Dyson.
Okay. Oh yeah, no, that's not bad. That's not bad. I think I was more so thinking about the starters when I said that, but
Oh,
no,
my
but
fault. My fault.
no. But I mean, if we're talking the entire team, okay, regardless, we agree CJ should be nowhere close. As good of a rebounder, and I think he is for his size. I mean, I think he was great. He had some crucial rebounds and some big games for this team last year.
Wait, but can I before we move on from that point, I just want to say, we're talking about rebounds. I want to take us back to March of 2021 or 2022.
Mm-hmm.
In March of last year, he averaged 3 rebounds. In April of last year, he averaged 3.2. In a playing tournament, he averaged 4 rebounds. So this is not a guy like I don't think what we asking for is a lot for him, especially as athletic as he is. It's kind of on the same spectrum as we see Trey shoot, and for a lot of that, he was just being a shooter. But I recall a lot of games. Me and Five were talking, and we're like, we wanted him to be more than that. I don't want you to just be this because everybody's putting this on you. You have all these gifts, you have all these tools. And with that being said, you can shoot, but you could also you using a slam. Yo, think about this. The best shooter on your team was in a slam dunk contest. Didn't even want to participate in that shit. I want to show these fools I'm an athlete. So with that being said, he should not be 3 rebounds a game.
So how about this argument? It's not necessarily what I believe, and it's not what I've heard that the coaching staff has been kind of asking him to work on from a rebounding perspective. But what about this argument? What about the person that says Trey Murphy he was one of the best transition players in basketball last season, right?
Yeah.
By the eye watch and by the numbers, he was one of the best transition guys in the game. What about the argument that says I would rather someone else get the rebound because of I want Trey. I want Trey running from the minute someone secures the rebound.
Yeah.
And putting pressure on the defense either from the 3-point line for someone to get back or from a rim running perspective.
I'm not mad at that actually, but if that's the case, let's scheme it, because literally from the podcast, we just did another show about JV. The point is, we were talking about if there was a possible replacement at center, rotations defensively and rebounding, right? Okay, so if you want Trey to run, scheme it so that there is a safety valve to get that rebound, because we see that when Larry's on the floor getting those minutes against bigger players, he can't get those rebounds because he's boxing out. Nobody is coming to get the rebound. So if that's the case, cool. I'm not mad at that. And it's kind of like the Stan Van Gundy effect with Zion. Why he didn't necessarily get his rebounding numbers, because he wanted him out in transition. But somebody got to get the rebounds, dog.
No. I mean, 100. I mean, I think this team struggled in a lot of ways last season. Looking ahead to transition opportunities too often, right? Whether that means they don't get the rebound, a putback is happens, or they get the rebound and it immediately gets taken away. Thinking too often about pushing right away, because you do have these weapons right in front of you. And especially if we're talking when Zion is healthy, when you got breaks with Zion or Brandon having the ball, and you got Trey on one wing and you got Herb on the other, really unselfish, but really good transition player. His ability from Euroing to get into the free throw line, creating contact, really good with it. We know Jose is spectacular in regards to having his eyes everywhere. We know if Dyson gets the rebound, I think one of his strengths is his ability as a rebounder and immediately passing the ball up the floor, right? The things that we loved about Lonzo. Yeah. When Larry gets the ball, it doesn't all. I've seen a lot of passes him trying to throw is a little crazy, but like I do agree with you there that securing the rebound first has to be in the play. And then, Trey's going to have his opportunities in his offense. He's going to have his opportunities to get in transition, but the rebounding numbers have to go up regardless.
Let me say this. The thing about transition is he doesn't necessarily have to be the recipient of the pass in transition. He could take that motherfucker off the glass and also do his thing in transition.
Yeah. 100%. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that Borrego and Willie and the rest of the staff, are going to be asking him to do a little bit more of, right? You got to find a way to eliminate, especially in this long of a season and with the usage and the amount of minutes that you're asking out of your best players. You want to find a way to get them healthy. Try to find as many opportunities as possible to take levels of stress off of them. We know Zion has to be better as a rebounder. We know Brandon, and we know those guys are going to be, CJ as well. They're going to be asked to do a lot with the basketball in their hands. But if your role players can help, whether it be pushing the break or on the glass or having opportunities offensively. We saw Trey a lot last season. Towards the end, he was getting ISO looks on the block. It didn't always look pretty because he had to gain some strength, but he was more and more getting the opportunity and taking advantage of the opportunity of showing what he can do just as an individual player, as an ISO player. Saw some fadeaways from him, saw some floaters, saw a lot of different things. And I think that you've seen that he's getting stronger, right? He's been in the weight room over the summer. I'm really curious to see how all those things help him evolve, because my question to you is just the title. What happens if Trey Murphy takes an additional leap in year 3? Let's say he's close to the March guy, but just a better player. Let's say the rebounds are better. Let's say from an offensive perspective, he's that guy, but he's better defensively, right? He's better at the point of attack. What does that do for this team, and what does that do for him if we see multiple months like March? If he comes out the gate looking like that guy.
Let me say this. Two things before I get into your point. Last summer, shout out to Mr. Kenny. I talked to Trey's dad about the evolution, the next steps in Trey's game. He told me more aggressiveness, and he had to work on his handle. So going into summer league, those were the things that I was looking at from Trey. Last summer league. So I saw it immediately. It popped out like it was like you could clearly see the work. The thing about work is, and I don't mean to go off a tangent, but we talked about Nikhil and how his bag was deep, but the things didn't necessarily fall for Nikhil, but that didn't mean he didn't put the work in. And in this case for Trey, like, the work is always going to show itself, as you see from Nikhil. Like, Nikhil ended up getting playoff minutes on the playoff team, right? In Trey's case, for me, the March guy that we saw, that's real. I don't think that's a fluke. I think that's the guy. I think that's the butterfly caterpillar, right? Like, you got to crawl before you walk. And before you can turn into the title of this show, you got to learn how to be a caterpillar. You got the perfect guys in front of you as far as like CJ and Brandon, who, are known for their work ethic. So Trey said on multiple accounts that Brandon was his idol. He was the guy he looked up to, right? And to have that guy on your team, and you see what Brandon is doing, Brandon looked like the Terminator. Brandon bulky as hell. I seen a picture of B.I. in Puerto Rico, and I was like, yo, like, he really, you know what I'm saying? Like, the work always gonna show itself. So to answer your question, what happens? Huh?
You think he look buff?
Nah, I can't. I don't say those kind of words. Like, that's not my type of slang. I can just say that he been in the gym. You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay, got it.
I don't. Buff.
Speaking of being in the gym, before you finally tell me what happens for Trey Murphy and what happens.
I'm John O'Barnes. I'm John O'Barnes. That was just saying. I'm just talking.
Pretty much. Before you finally get to tell me what happens, here's some summer work from Trey. Shout out to Justin Propels Talk, who put this out. I believe was the first. shout out to my dog at the end, Jose Alvarado. Well, that really wasn't Jose Alvarado, but it looked like in that setup, he was Jose Alvarado-ish, and he did what Jose Alvarado should and would do in that moment: find your trailer, Trey Murphy, and getting him another opportunity. As it looked like they went transition, where he ate a lot last season. Now, when you finally, my brother, answer the question, what does it do for the brand TM3? What does it do for TM3? What does it do for Kenny? All right. What does it do for the family? Okay, Sister Albita. And what does it do for the Pelicans if he takes an additional leap, a consistent one?
Yeah. Before I answer your question, on my John O'Barnes, I'd like to say just a couple things from that video. Confidence is crazy. The work gonna show, and his release look quicker. I'd like to say, if all of those things you said are consistent, that means for Sister Albita, for Mr. Kenny, for Lil Kenny III, that means generational wealth. That's what that means. And if you're a Pelicans fan, I mean, you go be seeing Trey Murphy for a long time in the Pelicans jersey.
Well said. Because look, he gonna get a bag regardless. It's no way. But what I think has to be what we're gonna learn a lot in year 3 is what type of leap are we talking here? Because right now he's an exceptional role player.
Yeah.
But he had an archetype coming into the league of being an amazing spot up shooter who was going to eventually grow on the move as a shooter, who could attack closeouts at the rim, who could also shoot well at the free throw line. So if the rebounding improves, if he gets better defensively, if he's able to even add a small, because with his ability to shoot at 40% clip, you not being able to leave him open, and him being able to shoot from 30 feet, and he can put you in the rim already, he might not even need that crazy of a dribble move to be crazy in this league. To put, like, he could put up 20 a game, just that. Just by getting a mid-range jump or a floater.
That pump fake will be his best friend.
Yeah. So just simply, whether it be a mid-range shot or whether it be a floater or creative ways to get into the free throw line, we're talking real star-like potential. And I'll say what I think it does for him. Whether he starts or comes off the bench, through all the jokes, I really don't care what happens. I have my own preference. But because regardless, he should be playing 30 minutes a game. I think that's clear now. He should be playing 30 minutes a night, no matter what's going on at this point, no matter if he's off the bench or starting. But the opportunities will be there. I just think, man, if Borrego and Willie Green and this staff is committed again to being anywhere close to having him involved in his offense as it was in March, and you add Zion back to the fold, and you add a healthy CJ, and you add Puerto Rican Brandon Ingram, okay?
Why you?
You can't guard everybody, and he's gonna be having, like, you see that wherever he was at just now on that video, he's gonna be having similar opportunities. He ain't gonna be playing against that level of talent, even though there wasn't NBA players out there. Actually, Kay Cunningham, and I know Kuminga was there. Mm-hmm. You talking about third and fourth, best defenders having to guard. You got to choose. You can't guard everything and everybody. You're gonna be having a lot of open looks and have a lot of opportunities to make people pay on a night-to-night basis.
Look, man, if healthy, that's the Achilles heel when the Pelicans fan, when you're talking about this team and you start a conversation with health, you know what I'm saying? Because you just never know. But with health, you got Zion doing Zion things. You got Brandon being Brandon. You have CJ, who looks incredible this offseason as far as like looking recovered from the labrum and the thumb, right? And then let's call it Lanyap. Let's say Trey's Lanyap. Sprinkle a little extra on the top, right? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, after the dish is already complete, like you OD now, and you know what I'm saying? And you got that guy. You got a guy who in March shot 133 threes and shot 45%.
It's nuts. That's nuts. And here's the thing, Lito. Here is before we close. And I forgot to mention it earlier. I think the best part about this is that we know the top two players on this team aren't going to play the entire season. You just know it. You're lucky if you get 50 and 60 games. Yeah, I mean, with Zion year to year, I mean, you're lucky if you get 40, right? So if you're lucky to even get those amount of games, Trey's gonna have a lot of opportunities and a lot of nights where they need him to show the improvements that he's made, where they need him to do more, where they need him to tap back into someone who can do something with the basketball. Because that's what happened at the end. They were asking anybody to score the basketball, and it turned from Trey, you are shooter, to where, nah, bro, you actually might be the second most important person on this offense right now, because CJ's playing with one hand and Brandon is getting quadruple teamed. So we got to make you a focal point against anybody that's on the floor. So, I mean, I can't speak enough to how interesting and important of a year this is for Trey. And it seems to be, it's one of them situations, bro, to where like the hype is matching what I think we all been seeing. I'm really curious to see how he takes advantage of it, and does he live up to it? Or does he kind of bring the expectations back a little bit, which would, I mean, in the human experience, is completely possible.
Listen, he's not going to be a superstar this year, and that's fine. That's totally fine. But I just want to, before we close out, I just want to say this one thing, that there was a game last season. I don't remember who we were playing when we were talking about it pre-pod. Trey did the look off. Shot that shit himself. Fuck it. I'm gonna do it myself, right?
Quick outlet to Murphy. Two guys between him and the rim. Oh, he'll just pull back and take the three.
Filthy. Disgusting. My favorite game, I'm glad you had that clip, but my favorite game from him this season was the game against Portland, where he had 41, and that was cool because he did score in a variety of ways. Took 20 field goal attempts, but he shot 14 threes. Not only did he shoot 14 threes, he made 9 of them. So he was shooting 64% from 3, right? The second and third most important part, because nothing gonna be more important than making 9 threes. The second and third most important part of that game is he had 7 rebounds. He had 7 rebounds, and he was plus 44.
I think I might have that clip too. Hold on, let me see. Is this it? Oh, the CJ. I thought I had it, but no. I mean, it was a complete game at the end of the day. And you said, you said that was the night he dropped 40?
41.
40 bars. 40 bars. Tell me what you gonna do for the 40 bars. 40.
I just want to see more of these, especially when dudes are out, with injuries or on rest. And I'm good to go.
Back come the Pels. Great shooter here.
Yo, dog, listen. That quick tween, fake cross in and out, step into the shot.
I mean, I got more. You want to see more?
I don't got nothing.
Trey thought about it against Murray. Great crossover. And hard to the hole.
On his head. Pause. On him.
All right, one more and I'm done. I promise.
Yeah. Another turnover, the 13th turnover for Golden State. Ingram to the basket and lays it.
Pass. That was just a defense overplaying him because he was acting crazy at that point. Him just making a pass.
It was a good pass though. It was, bro, like don't overcomplicate shit. It's so simple, right? You got a specialization. You're a shooter. Make them overcommit, and when they do, you bury them. Either go by them or find the other. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not too many times. And I know we got to close, but there's not too many guys on the NBA who's going to be the best shooter and possibly the second or third best athlete on the team. Like that combination is crazy.
I mean, that's where the things like Rashard Lewis, ends up. Those that remember the early days of Rashard Lewis, those where those type of comps come into play. Rashard was a really good athlete. He may not have been number one, right? But he was a really solid athlete for that size and with that shooting ability. It's hard to guard. And when you have offensive talent that's even better than him, you should not be able to guard this team. Those dudes just got to stay on the floor.
Shout out to Alonzo G, man. Just because, man, like I just remember nights being a Pels fan where like our wings was just
I can tell you about the pain. I can tell you about the struggle through the rain.
Yeah. Shout out to Quincy Pondexter, man. Shout out to all the guys, man. All the guys who laid the groundwork for, you know what I'm saying? Like we don't have wing problems no more, man. It just feel good. Like I just wanted to give a shout out to the fallen soldiers. That's all. If you like me to, I could keep going if like I
in the building. I told you last time, get with us or get out of here, man.
Oh.